when Vader fought the Grand Inquisitor. The Sith training Darth Vader underwent was full of surprises, and his master, Emperor Palpatine, was far from making it easy for him. Especially when just days after swearing his allegiance to the Empire and murdering hundreds of Jedi, Darth Vader was shocked to discover Palpatine had another potential apprentice in waiting. Who was the Grand Inquisitor? Why had the Emperor kept the student a secret? Shortly after his defeat to Obi-Wan on the planet of Mustafar, and only a few days after creating his very own Crimson Lightsaber, Vader was sent to the former Jedi Temple to deal with an unwelcome guest.
"There is an intruder in the temple. Deal with him."
Palpatine's ominous instructions echoed through the tomb of Vader's helmet. He proceeded to hauntingly stalk the corridors of the building that once showed him such promise and hope. The words of the intruder down below in the archive library trailed up. "I remember the lies," the voice said, growing louder. The mysterious hooded figure pursued the glowing blue information banks, approaching each shelf with a slow curiosity. Whoever he was, it seemed that he had been there before. The massive, empty archive hall made the intruder feel as if he were truly alone and safe within the solitude, until he uttered a final sentence. "No one will deny me now. No one is left." With that, Vader took his opportunity to appear, beaming Sith lightsaber in hand, illuminating the two dark figures with a blood-red glow. But that wouldn't be the only crimson blade to shine its light in the temple. The mysterious figure was strange to see. Clad in black, the man's pale white skin was a shocking contrast. Deeply grooved with shallow vertical columns, his face looked like it was striped with 100 black lines. The intruder slowly extended his arm to reveal a very strange hilt. Obviously a lightsaber, the handle was a bit strange, surrounded by a crescent metallic guard. Before Vader had the chance to determine what the specific weapon was, a similar red blade ejected from it, as the cloaked intruder sprang into action. Despite launching himself violently at Vader, the Sith Lord managed to get one defensive saber block in, before using the Force to thrust the intruder into a Jedi archive itself, and his opponent went crashing into the bright blue text. Leaping out of his cloak, the intruder unleashed his full rage on Vader as their two Sith lightsabers clashed. He taunted Vader, stating that he knew that the Sith Lord wanted the information in the archives for himself. Vader remained silent and let the anger-fueled Padawan talk to himself, as he aggressively proclaimed that this knowledge was intended for him. However, a terrifying revelation was made as he spoke. It turned out that the strange lightsaber hilt he wielded was indeed unlike anything Vader had seen before, as a second blade ignited from its bottom. Not only that, but the hilt itself began twisting violently, turning his weapon into somewhat of a lightsaber propeller. Though he was definitely winning the fight at first, Vader found he could barely defend nor attack against such a lively weapon. "You are losing. I am too powerful for you." Vader was quickly realizing this intruder was no common thief. This was a very dangerous, dark side conscious foe with technology that was foreign to him. Even the fighting style of this enemy was largely unlike any Force user he'd encountered before. Through these epiphanies, Vader found himself essentially trapped by his enemy. The spinning saber had created a deadly cage around the Sith Lord with little chance of penetration. But it was just that little chance that Vader took. As the spinning saber edged closer and closer, tearing apart the shelves around him, Vader's saber swiftly stabbed through the small gap the hilt made in the middle of the propeller. Hooked in, the Sith Lord jolted his saber up swiftly to deliver a crushing slice to the hilt in an explosion of crimson red. The intruder was thrown to the floor in disbelief. He was at Vader's mercy. Vader raised his arms, weapon in hand, to deliver a lethal strike, until Palpatine arrived.
"Lord Vader, stop. I see you have met my Grand Inquisitor."
Both Vader and the newly identified intruder were bewildered. The Inquisitor questioned as to why he was given leave to explore the archives by Palpatine personally, and who Vader was. Palpatine explained that he thought it was good that his two underlings met in order to teach each a valuable lesson. However, the Master made something very clear. Although Vader didn't always see it this way, Palpatine stated that the Sith Lord did not in fact serve him, rather the Empire, and the Inquisitor belonged to an entirely different sect, as Vader would soon discover the group he belonged to known as the Inquisitors. They, Palpatine stated, belonged to the Sith. The layers of loyalty, training, and personnel were deepening through every training session Vader was put through, but the Sith Lord couldn't let it shake his confidence, nor deter him from completing his transaction into a fully fledged Sith. It was clear he could dispatch of his master's other apprentice, meaning that Palpatine felt Vader was the more powerful prospect and at a level of higher training. But the fact this Inquisitor belonged to a formerly unknown sect of the Empire led to a seed of distrust being planted in Vader's mind. In fact, the mission he was sent on to kill the mysterious intruder was itself a lie. Though the Sith were not exactly known for treating their apprentices with respect, Vader's doubt would lead to damning consequences.